I got some bad news for us Star Wars fans. Star Wars The Acolyte will not be getting a second season.
Good, it was a terrible show anyhow.
Okay, disembodied voice. You may not have liked the show, but I did. And I'm not the only one. You go on Threads, and there's a lot of us Star Wars fans who liked The Acolyte on there. YouTube, big difference. But why did The Acolyte be cancelled? I couldn't find anything official from Lucasfilm, but based off of reports from The Hollywood Reporter and Variety, I can kind of surmise it has to do with low viewership numbers compared to lots of the other Star Wars series, and bad critical response from fans. Critics themselves liked it. 78 on Rotten Tomato, 67 on Metacritic, not great, but lots of positive reviews overall from critics. But fans, fans review bombed it. The lowest is 18% on Rotten Tomato. There's some higher ones like 32% on Google, 4.1 on the Internet Movie Database, so clearly fans did not like this as much as critics did. And I wonder if that's because fans had a harder time putting their personal biases aside than the professionals can. Professionals, they understand the technical stuff way better than many of us casual viewers do. And if they personally don't like a story, that may play a role in, but they're also going to look at, well, I mean, I like the story, but how technically was it put together? How well crafted it was? They're going to look at from much more of that standpoint. They're going to give it, whatever it actually deserves, because critics normally have a code of ethics and a proper formula that they follow, but as fans, we don't have that. Our personal opinion is going to impact how we view and rate a show. And let's talk about the two things that did hurt the show. Bad marketing. Marketing for a lot of Disney Plus shows has not been great, and The Acolyte is no exception. The marketing made us think we were going to get a murder mystery, which we did not really get. Rather, the actual story is about what happened on Brendock and how does that affect our characters in the present day. A lot harder to market for that, but by incorrectly marketing the show, I think that anyone who tuned in for episodes 1 and 2 may not have tuned in for future episodes because it seems like the mystery is already solved. So that hurt the show. You know what else hurt the show? The streaming format itself. I prefer the week by week thing, but I think there were too many episodes, therefore the story had to get chopped up in awkward pieces. I think 2, maybe 3 installments would have served the show a lot better. And I'm not talking about dropping like half the season week A and then the other half week B. No. I'm talking about proper, hour to 2 hour long episodes where the flashback scenes could be better integrated and all that. I think the fact that there's a good chance that Culprit said there had to be in 8 episodes hurt the show. While streaming, because you don't have to, fill in, 20, 22, whatever weeks for network television, that gives shows a lot more room to be flexible and cut out filler episodes, which I think is also hurting a lot of shows too, because you don't get those rest points, but you can just get used to the characters. But this show would have been badly served by, for lack of a better term, filler episodes. But I think many of the executives are still thinking, well, we need to have a certain number of episodes to make the show worth it. And The Acolyte was also very expensive. Perhaps by combining episodes together, they could also cut down cost. I don't know for sure, but I do think too many short episodes, they needed less but longer episodes, would have served the story better. But now we really gotta talk about the fan response, because those two problems alone won't dictate anything. They could have turned up for a few, but that doesn't explain so much of the hate that so many fans have towards the show, the absolute toxic hate. Well, those who have legitimate reasons, you guys are fine. I understand if you personally did not like the story, if you thought you were expecting something else from the marketing and decided that you were not going to watch the show because the show was not what the marketing said. I can understand if you're not liking the streaming format. If you didn't like the show for any of those reasons, this does not apply to you. Bigots, anti-woke, anti-Disney. Those 3 fan groups, one, I don't even want to call them fans, because fans are about loving a certain franchise. You're not fans if you actively hate it for those reasons, or any reason really. If you don't like it, then you're simply not a fan. just move on. Say, you know what? I don't like Star Wars anymore. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But no, they keep on talking about it. Why? Why? Well, that's psychology, and I'm not getting into that. But there's something to address. Leslye Headland is a queer woman. The show was led by four actors, four characters, and none of them are white men. The closest is Jodie, but he was just a major supporting character. So that also hurt the show. I hate to say it because they did a great job, in my opinion. But we do have fans who are bigots. We need to say no to that. We need to stand up against that. And those toxic fans are looking for any reason to hate the show. So any minor issue blown out of proportion. Remember the Carrie-Anne debacle and how they changed his canon age and all that? Who cares? You never had a canon age to begin with, just a Legends canon, which is a totally separate continuity. Whew, sorry about that. And no, you saw this back in the sequel trilogy. They used bad writing as a dog whistle. It really has become a dog whistle. I don't like using the term bad writing to describe something that's legitimately bad writing because it has become a freaking dog whistle. Sorry, I'm getting really frustrated at this because the show was good, but those toxic fans never gave it a chance and they pumped out content making the show look even worse than it actually is, which further turned off fans from watching it. The only way the Acolyte could have overcome, I think, this is if it had Andor level quality or better. But you know what? Nothing I think can meet Andor quality because Andor is just so good on so many levels. From a writing perspective, from a acting, from a technical, everything in Andor was just spot on. It's probably the best Star Wars show out there. And the Acolyte just could not live up to those expectations, which it needed to overcome everything it had going against it. Even though it was a good show, it just was basically destined to fail because of a bunch of childish, bigot, toxic fans. That ultimately has hurt the show. And what's I think going to result from this is Lucasfilm, Disney Plus, Disney are going to learn the wrong lessons. And that lesson being, they're going to see a show that was experimental, that tried something new, that separated itself from legacy characters, legacy events. They're going to see that as a failure, and we're going to be now less likely to get that stuff in the future. We're going to become stagnated if we stick to what is the legacy. That's going to be bad for the franchise. You can make a good show that builds upon legacy that is referential, but it has to be done right. Star Trek Lower Decks, I think, is a great example of that, but that's because it's a comedy show where being referential is the bit, and you can kind of see our core characters as a bunch of basically in-universe history nerds who talk in references. Real-life history nerds do that on occasion, by the way. So, I'm just going to give Disney, Lucasfilm, Disney Plus, anyone who's in charge this reminder. Remember Star Wars Andor. Andor was experimental. It is experimental. It's only loosely connected to legacy characters like Luke, Han, Leia, Darth Vader, only marginally connected, and that's via other characters and other events that those other characters are connected to. Remember Andor and how well it turned out, despite being disconnected by a fair amount. And also remember the book Boba Fett, which was all about a legacy character, but also got a poor critical and fan reception. Remember that. We have examples of good experimental and bad legacy. Remember that. And so, if you want to help save the Acolyte, tweet it out, post it wherever on social media, and go watch the Acolyte. I have a video, what the Acolyte is actually about. Go watch that if you were confused about the show, or if you have a friend that needs maybe a little bit of an explanation of what the story of the show actually was about. And connect with that. Also, go check out Mara Murphy's Law. That's another show I'm hoping will get renewed for an additional season. Same creators as Behind Phineas and Ferb. I think it's actually better personally, so go check that out. But that's what I got for today. I would love to hear your thoughts on the Acolyte's cancellation in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.